There's a moment that happens before you even realize it. Someone says something, a situation shifts, the room changes temperature, and before your brain has finished its sentence, your body has already decided. Be smaller, be quieter, be agreeable, be easy. Now here, my dear, is the part that people seem to miss. Your body doesn't shrink because it's confused. It shrinks because it's efficient. It learned very early on that if I make myself smaller, I get to stay. So when people say, why don't you just speak up? What they're really asking you is, why don't you override your entire nervous system in real time? That's not a mindset issue. That's physiology. And once you understand that, you stop being angry at yourself and start being more patient. If you have ever walked away from a conversation thinking, why did I even say that? Or I agreed to something I didn't want, or I made myself less again, then this video, my dear, is for you. Now, my dear, I'd like to say something personal here, because this didn't just happen to me once, it happened everywhere. I used to leave conversations and replay them like CCTV footage. What I said, what I didn't say, where I laughed and I didn't mean it, where I agreed when my body was screaming no. And the worst part wasn't the conversation, it was the quiet self-betrayal afterwards. That moment where I think, oh, I did it again. If that's familiar, I want you to know something. You didn't fail in that moment. You did what once kept you safe. We're not here to shame that. We're here to slowly outgrow it. Not to tell you to be braver, not to tell you to speak up everywhere, but to show you how to stop shrinking in the moment without blowing up your life. In the last video, we talked about why fear exists, why being yourself hasn't always felt safe, and why confidence isn't missing, it's cautious. Today is different, my dear. Today is about what you do inside of that fear, inside real conversations, inside real rooms, and inside real consequences. This is not about becoming fearless, it's about becoming present. Shrinking doesn't start in your head, it starts in your nervous system. Would you believe your body learns patterns long before your adult self arrived with logic and insight? When something feels risky, your system chooses one of 4 responses: fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. Most queer people don't fight, and we can't always flee, so we fawn, my dear. Fawning is wild because it looks so polite. You're like, no, it's fine. Honestly, I don't mind, I can do it. I'll move, I'll change, I'll adjust. Meanwhile, your soul in the corner over there is like, hello, I live here. You're not being kind, you're negotiating your existence like it's a group fucking project. We soften, we smooth, we agree, we laugh, we apologize. Not because we're weak, but because connection once depended on it. If your safety ever came from being liked, being agreeable, being low maintenance, being funny, your body still remembers that deal. And here's the important part. You cannot think your way out of your body's reaction. You have to work with it. Now, isn't that a little revelation? Let's name it, because recognition, my dear, is power. I want to give you a very small doable action here. Not homework, not journaling, just noticing. Just noticing, that's all. For the next few days, I want you to spot where shrinking happens most often. Not why, not how to fix it, just where. Is it with family, at work, in large groups, in small groups, with authority figures, with people you want to like you? Where does it happen? You don't need to confront it, you don't need to change it yet, just clock it. Just clock it. Because once you can see the pattern, you can stop thinking, this is just who I am, and start seeing this as a situational response. And that alone is progress. Fantastic progress. So do it and see how you get on. Shrinking often looks like apologizing before speaking, over-explaining your reasoning, laughing things off that actually hurt, agreeing while your chest tightens, or adding sorry when no harm has been done, editing yourself mid-sentence, or making yourself physically appear smaller, and the sneakiest little bugger of all, saying it's fine when it's absolutely not. These aren't personality traits, they're strategies. For the longest time, I thought shrinking was just who I was. That I was naturally accommodating, naturally easygoing, and naturally low maintenance. No, I was highly trained. I became good at reading rooms. I became good at anticipating reactions, good at smoothing edges before they became problems. And yes, that made me likable, but it also made me very, very tired. When I realized this wasn't my personality, but a survival strategy, something shifted. Because strategies can and should be updated. And you didn't choose them because they're fun. You chose them because they worked. Until they didn't. Now, I want you to pause for just a little second, my dear. Think about one situation where shrinking used to protect you. Maybe it was school, or family, or work. Now, ask yourself gently, does it still protect you now? Or does it keep you quiet? Outgrowing a strategy doesn't mean it was wrong. It means it worked, but its job is done. Some of you are competing in the apology Olympics. Some of you are apologizing for things that haven't even happened yet. You're like, sorry if this is wrong. Sorry if that's going to be annoying. Sorry if this is going to be too much. Sorry if. Stop. No advanced apology packages, no bundled deals. If something goes wrong later, then we'll handle it then. Preemptive guilt is not required. Now this one, my dear, is very, very simple and slightly annoying to do, which means, unfortunately, that it works. For one day, notice how often you apologize. Not stop it, just notice. Just pay attention and see how often it happens. Every sorry for asking a question, having a preference, taking up space, existing ever so slightly inconveniently. Just mentally clock it. At the end of the day, ask yourself, did I actually do harm, or was I just present? You don't need to correct anything yet. Awareness comes before change. And also, be gentle. This is not a self-attack exercise. You're like, sorry to bother you, sorry this might be silly, sorry I'm asking, sorry this might be wrong, sorry. At that point, you're no longer communicating, you're submitting a formal apology to the universe. No one asked for that, and frankly, it's exhausting. This is where things shift. Not with bold declarations, not with speeches, not with burning bridges, with small swaps. The reason small swaps work is because they don't trigger panic. Your nervous system doesn't need a rebrand, it just needs some reassurance. Each small pause, each neutral sentence, each moment you don't over-explain teaches your body something new. I didn't disappear and I survived. That right there is the real work, not bravery, but evidence. Swap number one, pause instead of filling the silence and the space. Look, here's something that you can try just once this week. All right, my dears. So just once, don't overstress yourself. When someone asks you a question and you feel the urge to rush, explain, apologize, or fill the silence, I want you to take the advice that I've given you and pause. Pause with intention. Count one breath in your head. You don't need the perfect answer. You don't need a clever answer. Just let the pause exist. If that feels scary, that is okay, my dear. That doesn't mean it's wrong. That pause is you staying with yourself instead of disappearing. And even just one pause teaches your body, I didn't vanish and nothing bad happened. That's how confidence actually grows. Silence is not danger. It just sometimes feels like it. When you're asked something and you don't know how to feel about it yet, try this. Pause. No explanation, no filler, no justification, just pause. The world will not collapse. The pause is where you stop abandoning yourself. Now, my dear, this is the one activity that I'm actually going to ask you to properly do this week. Pick one small truth. One small truth this week. It doesn't need to be a big one, nothing huge. You don't need any life-altering admissions, just one small, low-risk truth. I'd prefer something else. I'm not available. I don't actually agree. I need time to think. Say it once in a safe-ish place, then notice what happens. Not externally, but internally. Notice how your body feels after saying it. That right there, that's the moment you're teaching yourself I can exist without vanishing, and that is enough. Swap number 2, say less, not more. Shrinking often sounds like over-explaining. You think, if I just explain it better, they'll understand. But often, saying less is stronger. You don't need to justify a preference. You don't need to narrate your reasoning, and you don't need to convince. A simple statement is not rude, it's grounded. Swap number 3, neutral is powerful. You don't have to be cold, you don't have to be dramatic. Neutral language is a gift. My dear, neutral language changed my life because it meant I didn't have to be cold and I didn't have to be dramatic. I just had to be clear. And clarity feels terrifying at first because it removes the padding. But clarity is how you stop negotiating your own worth. I'm not available for that. That doesn't work for me. I'll think about it. No apology necessary. No story required. Just information. That's not aggression. That's self-respect. Let me make this real for you, okay? When I first started hosting as Kinky, I overmanaged everything. I smoothed awkward moments too fast, I laughed things off, I filled silence, and I took responsibility for other people's discomforts, and it was exhausting, my dear. Over time, I learned to let moments land. If a joke didn't hit, I let it sit. If someone was awkward, I didn't rescue them. And if a boundary was crossed, I addressed it calmly, not comedically. Nothing dramatic happened. This is the part that I wish someone had told me much, much, much sooner. Most of the time, nothing happens. The fear says there will be consequences. Reality says there might just be silence. And silence is survivable. That's how confidence grows, not from applause, but from realizing that the world is not going to end. The room didn't turn on me, the audience didn't revolt, the show didn't collapse. What changed was me. I stopped shrinking to manage other people's feelings. And ironically, that's when I became more confident on stage. Here, my dear, is a radical thought. You don't have to fix discomfort that you didn't create. If someone feels awkward because you didn't apologize enough, well, that's not your emergency, my dear. You are not the emotional help desk. No, thank you. Now, let's be honest. Sometimes shrinking is still the right choice. I need to say this very clearly. Choosing safety is not failure, it's wisdom. You don't owe authenticity to environments that would punish it. The growth is noticing, the growth is choosing internally, and the growth, my dear, is not shaming yourself. You're allowed to move at the pace your life can handle. This video is not telling you to confront everyone, and I'm definitely not telling you to burn bridges and not telling you to be visible at all cost. You're still allowed to choose safety. Growth is not measured by how loud you are. It's measured by how often you don't abandon yourself intentionally. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is notice. I wanted to speak, and I didn't. Awareness is not failure. That, my dear, is part of progress. If all you did was notice yourself shrinking today, that counts. If all you did was feel the urge to speak and didn't, that still counts. Growth doesn't start with action. It starts, my dear, with honesty. Now listen, growth is messy. Some days you speak up and some days you don't. Some days you nail it, and some days you text your friend afterwards and say, why am I like this? That's completely normal. Stopping shrinking doesn't mean you never fawn ever again. It means you catch yourself sooner, you recover faster, and you judge yourself less. And slowly, quietly, something shifts. Your body learns, I survived that. And then I can survive the next one too. You will still have moments that you replay over and over again at 3 a.m. You're going to think to yourself, why did I say that? Why didn't I say that? Why am I like this? That's not failure. That's character development, my lovely. You're learning a new skill. Be kind to the student. The student is you. Also, quick reassurance, you are going to think about this video later and immediately remember a moment where you absolutely shrank. That doesn't mean it didn't work. That means your brain is now aware, which is rude but useful. My dear, you don't need to be fearless. You don't need to be bold everywhere, and you don't need to change overnight. You just need to stop disappearing in the small moments. Pause once. Say one less apology. Choose neutral just once. Let silence exist just once. That's enough. And if this video gave you language for something you've been feeling, you are not alone. What's one moment where you noticed yourself shrinking recently? You don't become confident by being perfect. You become confident by staying present. And that's something you've already learned how to do.